Hello, ladies and gentlemen, mostly gentlemen. We are starting chess studies. Now, chess studies are a collection of extremely difficult puzzles which you aim to solve by calculating out various lines, and they're basically really hard puzzles, and you try and do them to get better at visualization and calculation. Now, doing this along with the blindfold training will really help you improve your calculation and visualization skills. I have a lot of my students do these blindfold chess studies because, not blindfolded, just these chess studies. I mean, I try and do the chess studies blindfolded. Probably don't try it at home unless you're like really good. I would say 2000 plus. But this stuff, it will really improve your calculation. And that's probably the major calculation is where most people fail, because when you're playing chess, you kind of play for fun. Like most people play for fun. And yeah, it's good to have fun, but if you want to win, you have to calculate. And you have to know your opponent's next move, you have to know your next move. So when you attempt to solve these studies, make sure you know your move, your opponent's move, your opponent's move in 10 different variations, and really calculate out all the lines. This will really help you build up your visualization skills. You can set this up on the board if you want. And this is going to be the first out of many, so I'm just giving you a quick intro. The first puzzle is on the screen you see here. So it's white to move, and white has a rook on e6, a pawn on c6, a king on b6. Black has a rook on d5, a king on b1, and a bishop on a1. So it is white to move, to play and win. So this is quite hard, so I want you to calculate out till the end, because there's turns that happen in this puzzle, and you can get it. It's solvable. It's not an impossible study, but it is quite hard. So pause the video, take some time. I would say take 10 to 15 minutes, especially if you're new to this. Take 10 to 15 minutes, have a go. Even if you're wrong, just have a try. It's what counts. And yes, I mean, if you get it wrong, I was gonna make a joke, but I just can't be bothered. What was I gonna say? Yeah, if you get this one wrong, you're pretty much doomed. Like, there's no hope for you. I'm kidding. You can try your best and see what you can do. The main thing is to calculate the variations. If you're setting this up on the board, try not to make a move on the board. So calculate from the start. Like, for example, if I'm investigating a move, let's say I want to play the move c7 first, not saying it's the right move, not saying it's the wrong move. Let's say I'm investigating the move c7. I'm not moving the pieces on the board. I'm not even drawing the arrows. I'm just showing this to demonstrate to you. Not even drawing the arrows. Now, I'm going to have to calculate c7. Okay, what's their next move likely to be? I'm not sure. Maybe they play... what can they play? They have to stop the pawn, right? So maybe they give a check. Maybe they play bishop d4 check. I go king b7. Maybe there they have rook c5. So we're going to have to calculate this stuff. So have a go. Take some time. And yes, I'll see you on the green side. What do people say in this situation? I'll see you on the bright side? No. I'll see you when you unpause the video. Okay. Okay. So, let's go through the solution. So the correct move is rook e1 check to take the bishop and push the pawn. So if you got that right, well done. Let's quickly look at c7. So let's see why c7 doesn't work. It was actually the recommendation I was giving just as a demonstration. Bishop d4 check, let's say king b7. Now rook b5 is winning, and rook d7 stops the pawn. So the move I was giving of rook c5 actually doesn't work. I'm assuming just rook c6 is good enough. Yeah, rook c6 is good enough, blocking this. And now if I trade here, this bishop can't stop the pawn, it will become a queen, and a queen is better than a bishop, and will win against a bishop, and will win. So that's not good for black. So black has to play rook d7, which is simple, pins the pawn pawn will no longer promote. If you play a move like this, at minimum I can sacrifice here, and bishop and king versus rook and king is a draw. And this is something you should know. It's not so, I guess it's not, it's pretty easy to draw. You just bring the king up, keep the bishop next to the king. Don't blunder your bishop. Don't do a move like this. This is something I would do. Don't do this. Don't lose your bishop. But yeah, that's a draw. So the move c7 therefore does not work. So we consider the move rook e1 check. So when you're looking for puzzles, or if you're considering studies, you always want to consider the checks, captures and threats. Check, very simple check, and it's a forcing move because once the king moves, you're able to take the bishop and push the pawn. And this pawn is not very easy to stop. So let's see. Rook e1 check is the correct move. They have to move the king. Let's say king b2. King c2 doesn't make much sense because you take the bishop for free. Now, king b2 is played. Rook takes a1. King takes a1. Now, white has to play a move. Now, moving the king makes little sense because next move, they will just go after the pawn. Let's say you move the king here. Rook c5. I can take the pawn. It's a draw. Now, c7 is the only move that makes any real sense. You're aiming to promote. If you promote rook versus queen is a win for the white pieces. It's a bit tricky, but it's winning. So black can't play rook c5 because the king blocks, and it can't play rook d8 because the pawn is here. Now what can they do? They have a very good move. They have rook d6 check. Rook d6. Now, if you were thinking in this position, if you got to this and you're like thinking king b7, I'll think about it, it's probably winning. Wrong. You're wrong. I'm sorry, you're just wrong. Isn't there a meme like that? You're wrong. You're just wrong. I feel like if there's a meme, I'll put it in here. So king b7 is wrong. Rook d7 pins the pawn. You can't push the pawn, and yeah, they're gonna sacrifice on the next move, and it's a draw. GG, you made a draw. All that hard work just to make a draw. I would consider that a waste of time. So what we're actually going to do is play king b5. And if you saw this, you are very good and you calculated very fast, so well done. Because rook d7 we promote, so they can't do that. They actually have to continue giving checks. So rook d5 they play. Now if we play king b6, they just repeat. We have to play king b4. Now rook d4, we play king b3. Now I think you can see what's happening here. Now rook d3. Now finally we can play the move king to c2. Now king to c2 attacks the rook. The rook can't go here because the pawn takes. It can't. Oh yeah, also I should mention, in a position like this we can't play king c5 because of rook d1. And now we're threatening this fork on promotion. So promote and then rook c1 picks up the queen. So we can't do that. So we have to go for this little wonder. Now they have a very good move. Now the move is, well, they can't do anything traditional to stop the pawn. So they play this move, rook d4. Now if you're not paying attention and you're like, oh, rook d4, what does that mean? I make a queen, I win. Wrong. Rook c4 is a draw because it's a check. You have to take the rook, and this is stalemate. So actually on rook d4 you have to play. Also I should mention, something like rook d5 doesn't matter. You can make a queen because it's no longer a stalemate. Here, king comes up. So on this move, rook d4, we have to actually make a rook. And if you saw this far, well done. But there's a key trick. Now you're threatening checkmate, but you're not threatening the rook. So they can defend checkmate. They can't play king a2 because obviously checkmate. So they play rook a4. And here is the brilliant move. King b3 attacks the rook, threatens checkmate, and they're out of tricks. Now they're completely out of tricks. Wherever they go, you give a checkmate. And if they have nothing here. They move the king, you just take the rook. GG. Now if you saw all of this from this position, you are pretty good. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't be solving these studies. This is a relatively easy one, and relatively easy, it's a bit Like, if you didn't get this, it's hard. Like, it's hard, and you should keep trying. But yeah, what you should consider are the checks capture threats. Like, if you played c7 on the first move, you really need to start considering your opponent's resources as well. It's actually a good book. Consider your opponent. No, is it called Consider Your Opponent's Resources? Whatever it is, it's a good book. I recommend it. And it talks about how people in chess, you're often selfish. You look at your own plans, you don't consider your opponents. Here, c7 loses. Oh well, it makes a draw. Now, if you saw all of this, well done. If you didn't, not well done, but also well done. I don't know where I'm going with this. Yeah, this is episode 1 done. Now, if you want to keep watching, you go to episode 2, but if you're here early, which you're probably not, you can't go to episode 2 because there's only one episode. So yeah,